Okay. Says I'm live and there's nobody here yet, so I'll just sit here and talk to myself. Um, Came in here with virtually no plan. I mean, I have a plan, but it's a bunch of stuff, unrelated, crazy stuff. So, yeah, we'll just give it some time for people to come in. And if you're watching on YouTube, just scrub forward until something starts happening. Okay. Hi, Kat. Kat, you save my life every day. Every day. Your brain clicks. Mine sleeps. Hi, Terry. All right, we got people coming in here now, so we'll be good. So, yeah, I don't really have a plan. You guys, I cleaned my room this weekend. So, to even think about doing anything kind of freaks me out because it's so clean. It was so clean. It's not now. I've got piles again, but it's okay. I'll deal with it. Hi, Keeks. Hi, Linda. Give Tim a hug. Yeah, but I cleaned everything, and you guys, I like to think that I'm a fairly clean person, but I'm going to say I was embarrassed because I think for all of October, there was just piles sitting everywhere of stuff that I was working on. Hi, Starla. And so it hadn't moved in weeks, literally. And so I moved everything, stuff that hadn't been moved in quite a while, and dusted. I live like a pig. I'm just saying. It was dirty in here. I was shocked. Hi, Belinda. So yesterday, after I got it cleaned, I was just so happy sitting in here with no piles, no dust, no dirt, no nothing. And here we are again. So, yeah, I'm going to trash it out. And because of Inktober, when I was splattering all that ink, I try and keep it kind of protected, but I knew some of it had gotten around. Yeah, I had ink everywhere. I have to say I was really embarrassed. Hi, Dee Dee, you made it. Thanks. Um, Everybody's gone. Yeah, that's always sad when you've got the kids there and then everybody goes home and you go back to your normal life. It's like, I'm not sure I like this so much. So this is one of the pages out of my Snart coloring books, which I'm loving. I can get them out, work on it, play with them, put them away. And yeah. So anyway, um, yeah, I got my room cleaned, got everything cleaned up, and now I'm all trashed out again. So things are back to normal. Cam's only 30 minutes away. I know. Well, Dee Dee, I feel that way when Nathan and Haven leave. They're only an hour and maybe 15 minutes away. But I always feel a little bad when they leave because I think part of it is because you don't know when you're going to see them again. Like because we kind of do things for the moment. Yeah. And it's like, well, I might see him next week. It might be a month, you know? So anyway, um, let me show you what Dee Dee sent me. You guys know I've been doing my Bible journaling. Hang on, let me show you. For most all of the lettering, where do I want to put that so it doesn't get trashed out? I've been using a certain color of blue ink. Let me see if I can find one easy. And I have to say, I've been loving this a lot. I can't believe that I picked this up and I can't find one that is completed. There's got to be one somewhere. All right. Anyway, I've been doing it kind of like if you notice this, the top part of this is True Blue, which is, I believe, 903, Prismacolor 903, and the bottom is Copenhagen 906. Well, one day I was whining at Dee Dee, about I need to order some more of those pencils. I have a couple extras, but when you do a lot of it, you go through those pencils pretty quick. Okay, would be another example where all the lettering in the book is much the same. So as you flip through it, yeah, the blues are the lettering, and there's a lot of lettering in it, which I really love. I like this page a lot. Anyway, thanks, Kat. Hi, Nanimo. So I'm whining at Dee Dee like I normally do, and said I was going to have to order some extra pencils, which is no big deal. Believe me, no big deal. Hey, Bossy Butt. And I didn't know if Hobby Lobby still had open stock. I think that's what started the conversation. Does Hobby Lobby still carry Prismacolor open stock? And she said, I don't think they're going to. So I looked on Blix. Well, to get free shipping with Blix, you need a $69 order. Well, I didn't want to have to go order a bunch of stuff that I probably already have and don't really need. So I'm, just whining like I normally do. So the other day, I get in the mail from Dee Dee all the blues that Hobby Lobby had. Dee Dee, you're so funny. Not the colors I need, mind you, but every blue that Hobby Lobby had. And I did end up calling Hobby Lobby, Michael's. Oh, and I looked on Amazon if you bought individual stocks. $10.48 a pencil, I think is what it came up. I was like freaked out. Because if it was, a little bit more expensive and you didn't have to pay the shipping, you could justify it. $10.48 a pencil. So, hi, Dorothy. You sent me a picture. Where'd you send it, Dorothy? But anyway, thank you, Dee Dee. And I got some bat stickers, and I adulted and didn't put them in my book yet, but I will. So thank you. Thank you. You're so thoughtful. Trying to save my miserable life that is worth saving, but over a pencil. The screen names are the, oh yeah, at my stream they have the @ sign. Yeah, I looked it up and it said that YouTube is doing that to try and prevent trolls from just changing their name. Dee Dee didn't have it this morning. I don't know. I don't know if I like it or not. I know I call people the wrong names, but yeah, that's what it is. Now I'm looking for, okay. And Inktober is over. I still have not finished posting all my pictures, not because they're not done, but because I'm just lame about posting. So today I'm going to start by making the cover for this book. This was 2023, so I'm going to do a cover for this stack, just like this stack. I thought about putting them together, but then I thought, oh, that sounds like a pain in the neck, so I'm not going to do that. Hi, Annette. So let's flip through them real quick, and then I'll go through some of the past Inktobers. I like butts on things. I like Brian Cook. I can tell that if we hung out, we would probably laugh at stupid stuff. So I'll just flip through them. And I designed it so that there were 4 signatures. And I'll put them in a cover. So they were fun. I'm going to probably miss doing them. I might do one here and there just because they're fun and kind of keeps me drawing, because otherwise I tend to be pretty lame. I'll get the Bible out and color in it, or I'll get a snark page out and color it. I know Dee Dee's Inktober poster is amazing. So, and these are all out of Brian Cook's calendar. And then he does a brand new one every Friday on his Instagram. He does a short video. So you get to see him draw the butts on things. And yeah, so I follow him. I enjoy the heck out of him. Now we're going to probably get into some that you guys haven't seen that I will be posting in the next 2-3 days. Tomorrow is going to be a crazy day because Robert and I, oh, they're out of order. This signature goes up there. So I do the taco on stream, and I'm going to draw the crayon box on stream. I like the little mushroom guy with his little tiny butt right there. Little butt. For Leaf Butt. Leave me alone. I'm pooped. See, Devin and Cat and Paste, honest to God, have the best puns. It's like a race. The little gnome butt I think I did yesterday. Then I'll post a tape butt and a coffin butt. This was supposed to be the 31st. It didn't get posted. Hey, Hey, Kitty Jen, I haven't seen you in a long time. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, and then the last page is always. So I'm going to go ahead, and they're out of order, and I know they're out of order, and I don't care. But I'm going to slap those in a cover that I'm going to draw here momentarily. So let me go back. I'll do the last Inktober. We'll do these out of order too. These I did bigger. Don't know why. Just did them bigger. I like them a little bit smaller where there's more ink splatters, but the eggs were fun. And some obviously are better than others. Some take more time. And this year I picked ones that weren't quite as labor intensive. But they're all fun, I have to say. And this year I was a little bit more careful about trying not to get the ink splats on the actual picture. Sweet dreams. Sleeping on your butt. New meaning to kiss my ass, huh? The boot was fun. I enjoyed doing that. Its perspective is a little off, but it's okay. Spam. I like the spam one. And I'm going to do one similar to this today. This one was fun. I like this one a lot. So some are better than others, obviously. Bite me. I should have written that on this. Bite me. Oh, the little butts. So that was 2023. And I'm going to go back. This morning, Denise wanted a scabby. And I had gotten these out and looked at them earlier this month. This cover I never finished, and it's never been bound. So, but when I started,
attempting to reach you on your cellular device. An idiot is attempting to reach you on your
these people, if they don't quit calling me now, this number will call me like 4 times. So, anyway, see,
attempting to reach.
Christmas themed butts. I could do Christmas themed butts. Hi, Laverne.
Is attempting to...
All right, they call 4 or 5 times every time. Hi, Kristen. Forget getting a paper cut. A paper butt is worse. Anyway, when Denise wanted a theme, and I had just looked at these, I thought the vintage candy was really fun. Now, these, at some point during the drawing, I decided they really needed color. So I started out black and white. And the ones in the end will be color. These were obviously far more labor intensive. But I think what I'm going to do, since I committed to Denise this morning that we're going to do vintage candy, I think what I'm going to do is photograph these, resize them. I'll color them, resize them. And after we launch Scavenger Hunt, I will be doing giveaways with some of these vintage candy drawings. And some of them I may go ahead and color, you know. But the ones toward the end, see, like Raisinets, this one just needed color. Dee Dee loves Raisinets, in case you guys don't know that. I grew up near the I drove by the Jolly Rancher factory when I was in college and going to school, living in Lakewood and driving to Boulder for school. I drove by the Jolly Rancher candy factory. Oh my gosh, when they would do the apple sticks, you could smell it for miles and miles. Hi, Kathy Berg. It was in Arvada, Colorado. I don't know if it's still there. But yeah, you could smell the apple forever. And this is when I started adding color. And again, some are far more labor intensive than others. So, but I think I'll make stickers out of them and do some giveaways. So you'll have vintage candy. And then one of the prompts will probably be, um, something you received from a fib or, yeah, I don't know if they have those sticks anymore, Starla. I know they were dangerous. There was another one. I'll tell you a story. I don't think, well, I'll see if I come on it. If not, I'll tell, it's coming up. BB bats. These were flavored taffy, and they were about this long, and they were on a stick. And one time, hey, View, um, I used to be a voracious reader when I was a kid, and I was laying on my bed reading, sucking on a BB bat. And they were like 2 cents. You could get a BB bat sucker for like 2 cents. They were so cheap. And you could suck it to a point. Same thing with the Jolly Rancher sticks. You could suck them to a point. Well, my brother was on my bed jumping over me while I was laying there reading, eating a BB bat. He fell on top of me, and I had sucked this to a point, and it went down in my throat and punctured a hole. And of course, we were all screaming all of a sudden. My mother was the worst when it came to, now she had 7 kids. She should have been used to dealing with mishaps and dangerous things that happened because it happened all the time. So my mother was useless. So I don't know, somebody ran around the block and told, we had a neighbor who I loved. She was like another mother. And when you wanted to be treated really nice, you went to her house and went and told Esther that I needed to go to the hospital. And so Esther drove her car around the block. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Joyce, Brenda, anybody I missed. Packed me up and took me to the hospital. And the doctor, he was a resident at the time, the doctor who sewed me up said I definitely needed stitches because I was bleeding. And he became our regular doctor for the rest of my life. I don't know if he's still alive now because I was so young then. Hi, Barbara. But anyway, yeah, my brother tried to kill me with a BB bat. And later, as we got older, yeah, I think he would say, I wish nobody had gone and got Esther to save your miserable life. You should have died. Because we tried all the time to kill each other. And these are Pez dispensers, big hunk, fireballs. I like fireballs. The Jetsons candy. I love these too. I don't know if you can still get these. See, I'm going to have to look up whether or not some of these candies you can still get. Chiclets. Did I spell that right? Is there a K missing? I might have spelled that wrong. I don't know. You don't know most of these? Well, we wouldn't know your candy either, Bossy, because when we'd go to Canada, your M&Ms were called Smarties, and they didn't taste the same. I didn't like them like I liked our M&Ms. But I loved them because you had pink and purple Smarties, and we didn't have that. Another thing Canada has that we don't have is Coffee Crisp. That was my favorite Canadian candy. And used to be my friends that would come down from Canada to Texas. They would bring me Coffee Crisp candy bars because I loved them so much. I like this one because Smart Sweet Tarts came in a metallic bag, and I did the coloring in metallic. Okay, thanks, Kristen. I did spell it right. Smartie. Well, see, we have Smarties here. You have Toffee Crisp. Well, I want one of those. Sweet Tarts. Yeah, I love Sweet Tarts too. Well, of course, it's all pure sugar, View. That's the point. Candy necklace. I love those. Made your neck all sticky. And then for getting toward Halloween, I did Halloween candy. That was it. This was wax that was chewable. These are gross and they're for decoration only. You should never put these in your mouth. So yeah, I'll be making photos and stickers of these, and I never finished the cover, obviously. So I guess that was the first year I did it. Does it have a year on it? 2018. So what's that? 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay, so this is like the 8th year that I've done it. I like this cover. This was Magicals, but it has nothing to do with Inktober other than I love the cover. I love that. The Magicals. This is 2017. This might be 2 years. I might have done 2 years of cartoons. And the reason I did the candy and this and maybe another one is I like doing the lettering. So yeah. And a lot of you may not remember these cartoons either. But that was how I gave Denise the choice, is because I had just looked at these and I'd forgotten how much I liked them. So this was what, 2017, did I say? Yeah. So yeah, I've done it longer than I thought. Mr. Magoo. And then I did go ahead and look up. This is it started in 1949 and the artist was John Hubley. So I did go ahead and look him up, you know, like when did they start and who drew them? And when Dee Dee draws Pinocchio, she has a bird poop on his face. Thanks, Barbara. What am I lowering? Sorry to do praise. We have to do so I have an appointment. Oh man. I hope it doesn't hurt. Go get that fixed. There's nothing worse than mouth pain or tooth pain. I loved Richie Rich and Curious George. I like them all. Archie was my favorite. And I had a stack, you guys. I had a huge stack of comic books because my grandmother was very indulgent. And I had so many of them. And when I was in late junior high, high school, whatever, a friend of mine named Rhonda, don't remember her last name, but she lived down the street and over one street from me. And she asked to borrow my comic books. And so I gave her, like, rather than giving her one or two at a time, I gave her the whole stack. You guys, she moved and took my comic books. And now I have maybe 10 upstairs. Yeah, I loved Archie. I think you can still buy Archie. So Pink Panther. But what I mostly liked doing was the lettering. Casper, the Jetsons, Peanuts. That one doesn't have a year. I wonder why. Another Popeye, olive oil. That was from 1919, you guys. Jughead was also in Archie. Scooby-Doo, 1969. So these weren't necessarily vintage. I think this was 2 years, you guys. This is too many drawings for 30 days. Calvin and Hobbes is my all-time favorite cartoon of any time, anywhere. I love The Far Side, but Calvin and Hobbes is my absolute favorite. And that reminds me, a famous cartoonist that draws Dilbert, the Dilbert comic, Scott Adams, was diagnosed with cancer earlier this year. And he never said anything to anybody until after Joe Biden came out and said that he had been diagnosed with prostate cancer. And Scott's was fairly far advanced. And he finally came out on his show. He does a morning show, Coffee with Scott Adams or something like that. And I used to watch him pretty diligently. And I love Scott. Say a prayer. for Scott Adams. They have a treatment, but Kaiser, I think, is his HMO, and they're dragging their feet, giving him the treatment, and he's in pain. We're going to lose. We're going to lose a really good guy when Scott passes. So if you're the praying kind and you believe in the power of prayer, I would appreciate if you would include Scott Adams in your prayers. He deserves them. Hi, Brooke. There you go. Now I've lectured enough. Of course, Mickey and Minnie, Wally Gator, The Simpsons, they're still on to this day. Matt Groening, the guy who came up with that, I think is genius level. Not because of his art necessarily, but because he's so timely in his commentary with a cartoon. Yeah. Gazoo, Yosemite Sam, Augie Doggy, Donald Duck, Little Lulu and Tubby. They had great comics too. Snagglepuss, Foghorn Leghorn, Yacky Doodle, Quick Straw McGraw. God, these are fun. I'm really glad I did these. I probably should have bound them a little better. I should have drawn them on better paper. Who knows? But at the time, it was just something to do. But look at the Top Cat lettering. Isn't that cool? Hi, Ruth. Fortnite is Simpsons themed right now. The whole map is an accurate Springfield. Really, Keeks? See, I don't keep up with Captain Caveman. So, yeah, I think this must have been, there's more than 31 drawings in here, I'd bet money. So this may have been 2 years. Oh, yeah, 2017 and 2020. So, yeah, that was 2 years. And then 1 year I did, excuse me, vintage. This was 2019. I did vintage flower packets, and I drew it in black and white and then colored it for the other side of the page. So, but the colored ones aren't sticking well. But this was also fun because I got to do the lettering and stuff like that. There's some carrots for you. I like vintage printing. You like these are your favorites, Starla? Well, I may end up turning a bunch of this into stickers. Dee Dee has convinced me that it's a fun giveaway. Yeah, I need to figure out a way to get those glued in where they'll stick. And again, like the drawing itself, and this is why I ended up coloring them in, because the actual line art that you're inking is not all that interesting. It's when you color it in that it makes it really, really fun. So Dee Dee convinced me that I probably ought to turn some of this art into stickers. But yeah, the line art is boring as hell. Yeah, it would make good stickers. So, and again, I got to do a lot of the fun lettering. Little sweet peas. But look at the sweet pea one. If I just did the line art, it's just like boring. Hi, Joe Lou. Hollyhock. We had hollyhocks when I was a kid. And we used to turn them into dolls with a toothpick. I think my mother hated when we did that because we'd pop off the blooms that hadn't flowered out yet. That would be the head, and then the blooms would actually be the skirt. And so if we made dolls, she had no hollyhocks blooming. They were just big old stalks. I like this one. Shasta Daisy. I think I actually watercolored these and then did some of the detail with colored pencil is what it looks to me. And I don't know if I did them on stream. I don't really know. The petunia's pretty. It looks like velvet. I must have spent quite a bit of time doing that this year. Hi, Living Skies vintage from Mexico. No, I was going to say aloha. Do I know anything from Mexico? Buenos dias. The Snapdragon I really like too. It also looks very velvety. So yeah, there were some fun years in there. And then a couple years I really just lamed out, and they're coming up. This one was really pretty. I like that one. Oops. Peas. Those should have butts on them, shouldn't they? I need to add some butts on there. Yeah, and then day 31, I did the pumpkin. So that was that. And again, this one I never actually got bound, but that's okay. Oh, I know why I have it like it is, so that this doesn't happen. I have to bind it so that stuff doesn't fall out until I figure out how to get them to stick. So that was 2019. 2020 was a repeat. Here's 2016. This was vintage toys. Some of these were a real pain in the ass. I remember drawing them thinking, what was I thinking? Oh, that's Jane. Hi, Jane. These would also be fun if they were in color. My grandmother actually had this monkey that we used to play with. Of course, I think everybody had Gumbies, and I just drawn another one like this with butts on it. But yeah, these would be fun in color. A Cupid doll. Old Maid card game. I enjoyed doing this one. I like the troll. I'll show you the one. Is that all? Somewhere there's a magic Etch-a-Sketch with a conspiracy chicken on it. What? The butthead. What butthead? I know too many buttheads. Was that 30? It must have been 31. Don't know. That one also never got bound. And then a couple years, let's see. 2021, I did flowers, and I did go ahead and color them in, and I did Zentangle in the background in light gray. So I don't know if you can see, but yeah. Zentangle was kind of fun. Calla lily is probably one of my favorite flowers to draw and color. And this may have been when I was trying to learn bubble lettering. What do you call it? You had a big rocking horse. We had a rocking horse too. I don't know whatever happened. Well, we had two because we had one. Thank you, Devin. We had one at my grandparents' and we had one at home. I don't know whatever happened to them. That was a good idea. I actually like this one with the flowers and the gray Zentangle in the background. It's kind of fun. And I did write the Zentangle on there, which I'm really glad, because I wouldn't know the name of them. Well, some of them I did, apparently. Thanks, Starla. He was called Dobbin. That was before Harry Potter even. Didn't Harry Potter have a Dobbin? Wasn't the little house guy named Dobbin? Delphinium Rose. I like that one. I like the background in that. This is almost like Dee Dee putting stencils in the background. Only I did draw all that. Yep. I wondered where that pumpkin was. The other day when I was going to do one of these, I thought, I know I have another pumpkin. I know I have another pumpkin. It's in this book. No, Dottie, close. Okay, thanks, Terry. And then the last one is Inktober 2022, and I did just Zentangle. Just a bunch of pages. And actually, this I did as a poster. And then I cut it up to put it in a book because I had no place to keep the poster. So if I took all these off the black background, see, like this one would connect onto there somewhere. That's the same design. So this was a great big huge poster because I want to be Dee Dee when I grow up. I ended up just cutting them up. And every day I would draw one section of the poster. Yeah, pumpkin found. So, yeah. So that's why there's only a few sheets, is because it was a great big poster. And then back here, I guess this was everything I did on the poster. There you go. So that's all of them. So from 2017, that's a lot, you know? And now, because you've done it so long, and I know Dee Dee feels this too, when I think about, oh, do I want to commit to it? You know, because it's, this year it wasn't that much of a commitment, but, you know, years past, I've spent a fair amount of time doing it. And I think, oh, do I want to commit to it? And I'm like, I'm not sure. Huh, here's another one. Another Zentangle one. This is 2024. So this was last year. And these were pretty quick. I didn't have to commit to a whole lot. I could slap these out pretty quick. But it is a commitment, you know, like it really is. Thanks, Kat. You've only completed 2 years. Well, you know, and it's like now I have all these these books. You know, will anybody ever want them? No, but they're fun for me to look back through and to show you guys, spend 30 minutes on stream showing you guys. This one did get bound, I have to say. And I guess I didn't write down which patterns I drew, so good luck figuring that out. I probably could go back and figure them out pretty quickly. The striped ones, like these, they're really my faves. So there you go. There's all my Inktober's for all the years. You've started but not finished. It's a commitment. It really is, you know, and there's never been one where I think I've done one every day. I get a little bit ahead or a little bit behind, but, you know, over the month, I do try. And finish. So I thought I would go ahead and do the cover. Thank you, Devin. On stream real quick and splatter the ink, and then go ahead and bind it so you can see that whole process of how it works. So bear with me. I started it in between Dee Dee's stream and my stream. And I did have to go fix a grilled cheese this morning after Dee Dee did one for Cam and Denise. I mean, I was sitting here, my mouth was watering and I was hungry, and I thought, Dee Dee can do that in like 2.5 minutes. I should be able to do it in about 25 minutes. So I got up and made Robert and I grilled cheese, which I'm sure he appreciated because I hadn't fed him. So he was going to get a breakfast Sammy. So he did. He just got a grilled cheese breakfast Sammy. But I didn't have chips. I don't let myself buy chips because I don't have the good sense to stop eating them. Once in a great while, I'll buy a can of Pringles because it satisfies. It's that crunchy, salty desire. Hang on. It's probably Dee Dee. You love gorilla cheese? Yeah. Dee Dee's look delicious. We'll see if this is Dee Dee gorilla cheese. Okay. Bye, Devin. Good luck at the dentist. I'm so sorry you have to go endure that. I had heard that, Dee Dee. Dee Dee just said that some people in the administration had intervened on Scott's behalf to try and get him the treatment that Kaiser was dragging their feet on. They had approved the drug, but they hadn't approved like the IV or something to administer it. It was such a ridiculous thing. But the way I saw him write about it was he was in so much pain, he was going to have to go to the ER. And of course, Dilbert was, comic about what goes on at the office. You've got one guy who's absolutely useless, the boss. It was a good comic. Not my favorite by any stretch of the imagination, but Scott has written, he's such an interesting character, Scott Adams, creator of Dilbert. He started out in the corporate world as a banker, and he had two different employers tell him, you'd be perfect for a promotion, but because of quotas for diversity, you'll never get a promotion in banking. And he heard that from, one was one of the phone companies, probably, I think it was Pacific Bell. But anyway, told him, we can't promote you, regardless of how excellent you are at your job. You'll never get a promotion here. So that's when he started doing the comics, is because he knew he was stymied in his career path. And of course, he started writing books as well. And he just wrote one, his most recent book. I would recommend any of his books, but the most recent book was about reframing, changing the way you think about things. And I have to say, over the years that I've listened to Scott, he has probably reframed my thinking more than any other person on earth. So I would recommend, one of his books was How to Win Bigly. And he took a course in hypnosis. He's a hypnotist. He's a master at persuasion. Just such an interesting man. And when I heard he was sick, I was unbelievably sad for somebody I've never met, don't know, but I feel like I know him, of all the people in the world who I respect and don't want to, I mean, I don't want anybody to die. I don't care what your beliefs are or anything else. I don't want anybody to die harshly, But that, I have to say, that made me incredibly sad when he admitted that he had been fighting this prostate cancer and wasn't sure if he was going to talk about it publicly. And some things, you guys, I'll just say this on stream. I pretty much will say anything on stream. Not very much personal stuff, but, you know, try and keep you guys in the loop. But one of the things about streaming is certain things are probably off limits to talk about because it hijacks the stream and the chat. And so, you know, Dee Dee is pretty diligent about, you know, we're going to keep it to art. And I'm much the same way. I'm probably a little bit more lax than Dee Dee. But yeah, you know, I understand why you guys are here. But never forget that whether we're a streamer or whether you're an audience member, we all got crap going on in our life, you know, that impact us, you know, and sometimes it's hard to come on here and be your happy, cheerful self when there's really ugly crap. Bigly is not a word. Yep, I know that. Living Skies Vintage. Win Bigly, I think, was one of his books. Winning Bigly. How to fail at almost everything. I don't know. But I would recommend any of Scott's books. The Reframe Your Brain one, I have to say, I think there are a couple books that I've read, nonfiction, that have actually changed the way I think about things, the way I approach life, the Bible obviously being one of them. But Scott Adams' books, and the other one that I would highly recommend their books was Gad Sad. He's a psychologist out of Canada. Yeah, I hear you, Living Skies. Though he was very different that you're talking about, amazing, but an alcoholic. Yeah, see, that's just what I'm saying is we've all got stuff that goes on in our life. You never know, you know. Living Skies equals Jane. I know, but I'm not going to remember that, Dee Dee. I wish I could remember that, but I probably won't. Because when you're streaming, your brain is busy, believe it or not. It's not just sitting around idle, which mine does most of the time. I didn't mark where I wanted to end. Okay, we'll end there. But I did this part of this first because I want to splatter the ink, and then if I have time, I'll go ahead and bind the book. But that little jig that I made for this cover, man, that saved me countless hours, you guys. And the thing is, it didn't have to be perfect because with the ink splatters, you barely even note it. You don't pay any attention to the border at all. So if it's a little wonky, nobody cares. All right, and I've got some cleanup to do on this, but I'll do that later. I'm going to go ahead and draw. Yeah, see, it's really easy. Just cut yourself one of these. And I mean, I could extend this, make it as long as I want or whatever. But by putting one there, you could always line it up pretty easy and keep it somewhat straight. So, yep, it's going to be a colorful butt. Colorful butt. And on most of these, I did not use a ruler or anything. I just, yeah, went with my wonky lines, and it was fine. I'm going to want to use a ruler here in just a minute. This is another one that would be so much better in color. But I think I will probably take a photograph, and even though it will have gray shading on it, I might be able to add the color on top. And this is pretty much how I did all of them. So if there's a little bit of wonky, it is what it is kind of how I look at it. If I wanted it perfect, I'd get out a ruler, I'd correct my pencil drawing a little bit more than I do. Brand new box of crayons. God, when you were a kid, was there anything better than a brand new box of crayons? I remember distinctly. Do you remember? I might have one up in the cupboard. The 64 box of crayons that had a sharpener in it. I remember when I wanted one so bad. My grandmother probably bought it for me because she bought me all the cool stuff that I liked. But I remember getting that box of 64 crayons. Man, I thought I had died and gone to flippin' heaven. I'm not even kidding you. $64 with a sharpener. Whoa, baby. It's funny that I remember that, and I also remember when my dad got me that poster. Box of 64 with a sharpener. I remember too, and this was a long time after that. They made a big box. I remember I got it on Christmas morning, and I don't know how many were in there. It was either 120 or 150. I don't remember, but anyway, it was a big long box of just rows of crayon laying flat, much like a Prismacolor. Oh, Joyce, probably that's why I think my grandmother bought it for me, because I don't think my parents would have. And I don't know if it was because, see, I grew up thinking we were poor. And then come to find out, we weren't rich by any stretch of the imagination. But every extra penny that my parents had went into the bank so that my dad could take summers off to take us on vacation. When I was a kid, I didn't realize what taking 3 months off in the summer, what the cost of that was. So I always went through life thinking we were poor because I didn't get all the things that I wanted, because my mom and dad were saving money to do something really special that I did not begin to appreciate that how special it was. So, okay, Kitty Jen, thanks for stopping by. And I could do a whole year of butts on things. All right, now I'm going to, and I should have done this before. I didn't think about it until just now. Let me see what the other butts on things, because I want them kind of to match. Those are the pages I got to put in it. I've got to find the stencil that matches that so I can use the same one. And I store them by size. So this is 1/2 inch lettering. Is this it? No. Well, it's got to be in here. Maybe it's out of order. Let's see. Doesn't have to be the same, but I want it to be the same. That's not it. Did I lose one or something? What the heck? Do you guys think I need any more lettering stencils? Well, now that's going to bug the heck out of me. Yeah, I should have looked before I started streaming. Is this it? That's it right there. All right. Never mind. I just blew right by it. My bad. My bad. All right. Let's do this little thing real quick. All right. Where's about the center? Well, if I go by the border, no, I'm not going to do that. I love lettering stencils, in case you couldn't tell. And those are just the ones up to 1 inch. I have a whole notebook of stencils that are above 1 inch, bigger than 1 inch. And I'm still calling it Stinktober because butts are stinky. Tomorrow is going to be a busy day. I'm taking Robert up to Joplin for a follow-up doctor's appointment and then shopping. I don't know that I'll have time to go to Hobby Lobby. It's been a long time since I've been to Hobby Lobby, but I don't think I'm going to have time tomorrow because we didn't get the first appointment in the morning, which I like because I don't like sitting around waiting for other dumbass people. Sorry, but it's just true. So who knows how long we'll be at the doctor's, and then I'm going to go shopping. And I'm so excited because I'm going to go to Sam's Club. And I always spend $1 million at Sam's Club. But last time I was there, if you've got a Sam's Club membership, they have, I bought them. I think they came out for Christmas. Maybe they have them all the time, but they're in a bright red package, and they're called pretzel thins. And it's, bye, Starla. Go have a great week. Yeah, but they're called pretzels thins, and they're smushed pretzels. They're thin, covered with dark chocolate. They're the most delicious things. And I bought a bag last time we were there. And of course, Robert and I ate them pronto. I did not have any idea I bought them actually for Robert. But then I think I told Dee Dee this and made her laugh. Because Robert grazes all day long. And so I try and have a lot of grazing food around. So I think I bought it for Robert. And then I tried it. And he was eating them so fast that I ended up hiding them from Robert so I could have some. And I can hardly wait to go back tomorrow to get them. I know. Honestly, Sam's Club is such a dangerous place. Oh my God, you can spend a lot of money there. But anyway, after Robert and I pigged out and ate all these pretzel thins, I thought, well, this is probably, I could probably get them anywhere. So I looked on Walmart.com and you can get the exact same product at Walmart.com that they sell at Sam's Club. Mind you, they're the same parent company. Double the price. You were looking since beginning, but falling in sleep behind my PC because of the meds I take for eye infection and cold. Oh, Raul, take care of you. For real. I'm glad you came and you're lurking, but yeah, if you need to go take a nap, you go take a nap, my friend. Yesterday, I had such a horrible sinus headache. I thought I'm going to probably end up sleeping all damn day. But I did finally breathe some hot steam water and ended up feeling okay. But yeah, I've had terrible sinus this fall. I'm going to probably end up having to make a doctor's appointment, which I hate because I just hate it. But yeah, I think I will be. If it doesn't ease up, I will definitely be stink TOB. Yeah, I will definitely be making a doctor's appointment and maybe try some different kind of medication. I don't want to have to go in for allergy shots. I've resisted that all these years. But I don't know. I may be getting to a point where I don't have any other options. But yeah, I can't take too many days like yesterday. BE. So with very little effort, you guys, you can make your stuff look somewhat semi-professional, you know? And I'm not using the best, like this paper isn't the best. I mean, it looks homemade, but it can look good. And I don't think using these stencils for the lettering is cheating at all. Now, on the Inktobers I showed you, that I did freehand lettering. And that takes some time. So, yep, a day in Joplin. Did you guys know to fill in these spaces if you're doing stencils? They have to do that so that the letter doesn't fall apart. Ooh, that's going to be really, really tight. All right, let me find one of the stencils that has smaller numbers. Not all of them have the numbers, so that one should be a little bit smaller, but I'd like to have sans serif if I could find it. Yeah, that one's small. I could use that. I guess I'll use that one. I could have spaced it out a little bit better, hey? Yeah, the rest of them, I'm sure, if they have numbers, they're going to be too big. All right, I'll use that one. It'll be fine. $20.25. I was looking up something this weekend. Oh, I was looking up when the Grand Ole Opry started. Robert and I were watching it. Robert likes to watch. He loves country western music, so I've been turning it on for him in the evening. We got talking about when did the Grand Ole Opry start? 1925, you guys. 100 years old this year. Who would have thought? And half the people on there, Robert will say, man, I haven't seen them. Of course, they're rerun, you know, they're on YouTube, so they're reruns of stuff that have been taped years ago. And everyone that he wants to know about, I've looked up. My God, they've been gone for 10, 12 years. All right, I'm going to splatter the ink, and then I'm going to move on to experimenting with acrylic inks. And Dee Dee did it on hers, but I want to try it again. Acrylic inks and alcohol while the splatters on this dry. I'm glad this turned out okay, so I don't have to redo it. Looks good enough to me. All right, let me quickly erase my pencil marks because I don't like to erase after the ink is on there because I'll smear it for sure. Oh, I forgot to do the shading. Duh. I kept feeling like I was forgetting something. Let's shade this bad boy. And all this stuff had been put away. Now it's all back out again. Ugh. Okay. Let's see how I want to shade it. And it would be really way more fun if it was in color, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? No, let's do this for the... Oops, got a little carried away there. And I forgot the other side of his butt. No wonder it looks so weird. All right, that'll be fine. Anyway, Devin already left. I was going to tell her while she was here. I've been wanting some more alcohol markers. It's a sickness, you guys, an absolute sickness. But I've used a lot of these up doing those snark posters and stuff, so I can justify buying myself some new alcohol markers. And now, since it's my birthday quarter, and it just dawned on me the other day that, holy cow, it's my birthday here in 2 weeks. Yeah, I think I'm going to buy myself some birthday markers. But if I had to do 2 more mini of these gray markers would be done. Done, done, and more done. What's going on with Brenda? Oops, I just dropped my mouse. But mine doesn't have ink all over it. And look at it, pretty clean. Brenda, I will definitely be keeping you in my prayers. Yep, you got to go into it with a really, really fierce attitude. I don't like the streakiness, so I'm going to go over it real quick. It's remarkable what they can do now, though. You know, like I don't think a cancer diagnosis is quite as scary as it was a few years ago. They're really doing some remarkable treatments. So be positive. Know you're going to fight. Know you're going to beat it. I remember how afraid I was when Robert was diagnosed with leukemia. And the cancer doctor down in Oklahoma City, and it's a teaching hospital, said, you've got nothing to worry about. That boy's going to do just fine. And I have to say, those words probably made me feel so much better than anything, you know. He says, we're doing remarkable things. Don't you be afraid. And it was like, oh, thank goodness. Another thing I didn't do that I need to do is give these crayons a band of black. Thinking. Sorry, I'm quiet. eager to get it done, I'm forgetting the most important parts. I don't even know. I think these lines are actually, rather than triangular, I think they're curvy, but in my crayon box, they're not. Yeah, these would be way fun if they were colored, but we're doing the best we can with what we've got. These two grays, oh, that's a blue gray. I don't want that one. And this one has just about said, I'm done playing with you. Let's see. Can't hardly see that, can you? Maybe for those, I'll use it a little bit darker. I wish I had a finer point. I guess Sharpies, and I've got a set of Bic. I think they're Bic. That'll be all right. That have finer points, but they don't have the grays that I need. All right, let's block out this portion. I'm holding it up to see where the actual art is. Okay. All right, got to move all this stuff because the ink is going to start flying. And I still have not found my 0.5 graph gear pencil. I don't know what in the world I would have done with it. And I'd like to blame Robert, but I just don't think he would take my pencil. But I swear to God, if I go downstairs and I find it in his man cave, he better run for his life. That's all I've got to say about that. Oh, do I want, let me see how I did it before. Yep. There's ink splatters front and back, so I have this little lid. And I poured the ink out of this 55-gallon drum of Speedball ink that I ordered, thinking I was ordering a little bottle. Yeah, I ended up with this 55-gallon drum of ink. And I'm getting really mad at it because this lid sticks. That's probably more than enough. No, Ruth, you don't ever have to say no. That's the beauty of your life. When you get to be an adult, you get to decide. Oh, where's my... See, I put everything away. Now all my stuff is where I don't know where it is. That's crazy and I hate it. There it is. I got my paintbrush wet, but not full of water. And I just got all this splatter cleaned up. Ugh. And here we are again. Now don't worry about the spine because I'll show you how I do the spine. To hide the stitching. All right. Now I'm going to set this aside someplace safe and let it dry. And I may or may not do the spine lettering on stream. I think next up I'm going to experiment with the acrylic and alcohol. I've been wanting to do this for a couple of weeks. And all I did was grab some, I don't have I'm not like Dee Dee. I don't have a huge amount. This is not all that I have, but I just grabbed some acrylic paints and put them on this tray so I could bring them out. And based on what I saw, I'm going to paint 3 base. Okay, I just grabbed Kaka paintbrush. All right, the ones that I saw, they painted the, and I wish I could remember the guy's name, you guys, but I can't. So I'll look it up and put it out later. But he had a light colored background and then did dark on top of it, and it came out really cool. And I thought, well, I wonder if it would work the same. I don't think it would if I did a dark background with light on top. So I'm going to start with just yellow, and then I've got to set this aside and let it dry. But the first layer, the bottom layer, I think was full strength acrylic paint, and he did a layer of that. And on this part, you don't have to work real fast. And look, I don't use my acrylic paint, so I've got lots of paint boogers. And that's fine. I don't care. I'll try and get them out. But yeah, if you don't use your paint, you end up with paint boogers. And actually, this paint, a lot of it, I'm surprised it still is even useful because most of it was my mother's. And my mother died in 2001. So if that gives you any idea how long this craft paint stays workable, there you go. Because any acrylic paint I bought, I always bought for a purpose. And when that purpose was over, I was done with the paint. So we'll start with the yellow. And I think I'm doing something Dee Dee never does. Dee Dee never puts her excess paint back in the tube. I just did that. All right, I'm going to use my dirty water. I've got 2 waters here, a clean and a dirty. I just put my ink brush in that one, so I'll use that to clean out that brush. Now I'm going to set this aside and let it dry completely. You have to let it dry. And I may have to get a heat gun out to blow that, but we're going to do 3 bases. Let's do a pink one. Ooh, there's not much paint in here. Let's see. There's more in this. It's a little bit darker. This is Parisian pink. I won't put quite so much paint out. Now this one's more watery. Let's see. And I might still have some yellow paint boogers, but nobody cares. Yeah, see how watery that is? That's okay though. If I get a, ooh, yeah, that's splashing all over the place. Probably should have shook it better. It's okay. It's just an experiment. And if I like the results, I'll figure out what, well, I already have kind of an idea of what I want to do with it. So I think I want better coverage than that though. All right. There's no rule that says you can't mix the paints. Yeah, these paints are seriously old. And then Dee Dee said the other day that Hobby Lobby will no longer be selling deco art paints, which really surprises me. Because like Dee Dee, I did love the deco arts. I like the finish. I like the color selection. Got some paint boogers, but we're not going to care about that. Okay, set it aside and let it dry. And it's not really, really thick, so it should dry pretty rapidly. But we own a heat gun, so we don't care. All right, and then the last one, I got out some of the color shift paints. I think I'm going to do, I like aqua pretty good. Let's do some aqua. Deco Art didn't say, just that it came, what? From Hobby Lobby Corporate. Yeah, so I don't know if they'll put them on clearance or what, you guys, but if you like the Deco Art paints, you might keep an eye at Hobby Lobby. Oh, that's a lot of paint. Okay. Let's spread this stuff around. Lots and lots of paint boogeries. Look at that big old blob of boogery. Let's just set it over here. This one has a lot of paint. Might take a little bit longer to dry. But that's okay. We'll be doing other stuff with the yellow and the pink. But anyway, what I was saying was I got the color shift paints out. And honestly, I don't remember why I have the color shift paints. And I don't remember exactly what they do. So there's that. All right. So just I only got 3 out because I've got 3 different strengths of alcohol. I've got 50, 71, and 90 or something like that. And I don't need the paint for a little while. I have no room, you guys. That's my problem in life. I have no room. So now I'm going to just stack it up. Okay, so let's see how dry the yellow one is. I'm going to hit it with a heat gun, dry that bad boy up. And from what I could tell watching him was you want this base, the bottom coat, real dry. You bought a few of the Color Shift a few years ago. Do you like them, Nanimo? You love using the black gold. I don't know if I got the black gold out. I just grabbed a couple. According to Dee Dee, if it's cold to the touch, it's still wet. So just another minute. Okay, I think that's dry. Okay, I'll let you guys decide what color you want to try on top of the yellow. Anything would probably go good. One of the Color Shifts, blue. I don't really want orange. And I was going to do these. Let's see, that's 70. I've got 50%, 70, and 91% isopropyl alcohol. I just wanted to see if the strength of the alcohol changed how it behaved. You're not good with wet stuff? Well, I kind of understand that. Let's try a blue. All right, here's the blue Color Shift. This folk art paint. It has a gloss finish, which I guess is fine. I don't know. We'll try and do one with a matte finish and one with a gloss finish. But that's what the Color Shift does. So I hope, I think it's a green blue. I don't remember what it does, you guys. I just don't remember. Lavender lilac. Now that would be interesting too. Okay, so I've got this lavender. And then this is a really funky, okay, we're going to change up plans here. Here's the, and this again, gloss finish. Purple flash. Let's do purple flash on top of the yellow. Again, I haven't used these in so long, you guys. I have no idea what to expect. For real. Okay. And the thing about it is you have to have your base paint really dry. Let me put a couple things away here before I ruin something else. And then your top coat of acrylic paint. Ugh. They dry out? What the heck? Okay. Oh, look how thick that is. That's okay. We're going to water it down. That's probably more than enough, but we don't care because we don't save our paints. We don't care that much. Okay, let me get my brush really good and clean so I can put some clean water in it. I don't think there's anything clean about that water that I'm going to get it clean. So let's just put it in here. It's, for the most part, pretty clean. All right, and then you have to water down the paint that you're going to do on top. And I'm not sure how thin or how thick. That's why we're experimenting, because we don't know. That's pretty runny. I should have had 15 towels out here, you guys. Okay, and then I'm going to take, because you have to work fairly quickly now. And I'm going to dump out some of this alcohol. This is the 50% isopropyl alcohol. Have it sitting by the side ready, because you have to work quickly, I think is what I understood. Now, you know, I mean, it takes a minute to dry, but let's just go ahead and... Now, yellow and purple should be making gray. Maybe I have it too watery. I don't know. And when he was doing this, he was working pretty fast. But it looked like his paint was a little bit thicker, so... But it's the reaction of the water with the alcohol that gets you the crazy reaction. So... And I probably should have watched the video again before I did this, but what the hell, here we are now. Maybe I need to pull you guys in. I'm not seeing... Can you see? Would have been better with a, I think, maybe a darker color. If we don't like it, we'll dry it and do it again. Still kind of cool. That's what I don't know, Belinda. That's why I got some of each. Don't ask me why I have 3 different percentages of isopropyl alcohol. I have no clue. That one didn't react as violently. I breathed in those fumes. Probably not a good idea. Yeah, didn't react as violently as his did. And I suppose I should just pour that out somewhere else. Where do you pour used isopropyl alcohol? It will evaporate pretty quickly, so I'll just wipe it up with a paper towel. Throw it away. Oh, I can use my rag here. An opaque paint. That's what I'm thinking, Devin. I'm going to try that next. I just wanted to see what the color shift does. Another thing I don't know, and Dee Dee probably could answer this, but it's going to take a while for that alcohol to dry, and I'm going to try and let it dry naturally without... but I can paint over it, and we'll try again. But it has to be completely dry again, and I don't know if that's going to dry, and I don't know if it's going to be sticky when it does dry. That's another thing. We're finding this stuff out. What the heck? What's the worst that can happen? I don't think it can explode. Can it? What was the second one? Was the second one the pink or the turquoise? The pink, I think. Yeah, that's pretty much dry. Let me hit it with a heat gun. Well, it still feels a little damp to me. All right. I'll let you guys pick what color I put on top of it. I think it's dry. It still feels slightly damp to me. I guess it probably doesn't matter. It's not going to move. I mean, that's what I was thinking too, Terry Brett. Yeah, that's definitely not going to move. It should be dry enough. I think it's okay. Glad I brought out multiple little palette things here. All right. I've got different colors of blue. No, I don't want indigo. I don't want that dark. Oh, I have two navies. Let's use this one. There's more in it. All right, navy blue it is. Great minds, I know, Terry. I can always count on you to say the right thing because we think of exactly alike. I mean, I'm really shaking this stuff because I don't need more paint burgers in my life. Yeah, this is really a pretty blue, and I like pink and blue together. I'm not sure how much paint to use, but got to add a little bit of water to it. Sorry if I'm hitting the camera. No space. All right. Here's. And his was fairly watery, so let me get the water over here closer. I don't need to be dragging it all over. And maybe I'm putting too much water. I don't know. Ready? Okay, yeah, this seems more consistency like I remember. I think this is going to work a lot better, you guys. And you got to work fast because it's got to stay wet. So, yeah, the whole fast part, that's a challenge. And I didn't get the alcohol out. Oops. That's all right. I'll just pour it in my hand. All right. 70%. Oops. I really did knock you guys cuckoo that time, didn't I? All right. I'm going to be so disappointed if this doesn't work like what I saw, because I thought it was so cool. And it could be that I'm not moving fast enough. I don't know. Hi, Patty. Yeah, it's not working like his did. Maybe I put too much paint on top. I don't know. Oh, this is annoying me. I'm going to try this again until I can figure out how he got what he got. Arlene should be here because Arlene apparently has done this many, many times. But I don't remember his having the streak marks either. Or maybe I'm using not enough water. See, that's the thing. I don't know. Did he use golden open paint? I don't think so, Bossy. I don't think so at all. I thought he was just using regular craft paint. But one thing he did emphasize was you got to work quickly. So Maybe I'm not working quickly enough. Dee Dee, any suggestions? And who is he? I don't remember, Devin. I don't have it off the top of my head. I think I saved it. I know I saved it somewhere. Yeah, I know I saved it somewhere. Thinner top coat. Okay. All right. Dee Dee's saying thinner top coat. Yeah, because I don't like that. But let me see. Because this one now, oops, I just flopped something up on my face. See, I need to leave it alone because I'm going to goof it up. Yeah, it was a guy on IG, I think. So it's probably in my IG save, but we're just going to gum through this until we screw it up horribly, and then we'll call it a day. All right. This one's still a little damp. And I saw it, and what he did, it was very cool. I mean, he got like a violent, well, I say violent, but it was like, it was very cool. Can you spray blue with water and brush out again and try again? See, that's just it. No, because what ends up happening, Devin, is and I think Dee Dee may be right, that my top coat is too thick. So, but you could definitely see the color. And he was using like a yellow goldish kind of base color. And then it was like a brown or a gold or something on top. And when the alcohol hit the water, it was just like oil and water. It pushed the paint out. And so you could see the color underneath kind of just pushing through. That's a good idea, but see, when it's dry, it's not dry yet. So since we don't really care. Yeah, because some of that blue is not dry yet. So let me get some water here. Because if the whole thing ends up in the trash, honestly, who cares? But see, that blue paint if it's dried, it's not going to reactivate because that's not the nature of acrylic paint, right? But let's try it since we're here and we've got the junk out, because I don't like getting the junk out multiple times. I'm just saying. Yeah, nothing's happening. Yep, nothing's happening. So might be just a big old fat boy failed experiment, but at least I tried, and it'll quit nagging at me. Do this, do this. And I wonder, now he did not, but when he, I wonder if when you put this top coat on, no, I don't, I think it's got to be immersed with the water. Washing my brush out before I pick a color. Should I do the dark blue again on top of this and just water it down? I think I'll do that. I'm going to do dark blue. Which one did I choose? Did I leave it on the table? Left it on the table. Okay, not much paint, more water. Okay. That shouldn't move. And I got blue on there because I have blue on my hands. What a mess I am. And this is pretty watery now. Maybe it would have been easier if I started with a smaller place, right? So I wasn't having to do all this so fast by my own self. All right, 91. And I should have gotten this out and ready earlier. I'm really a rocket scientist, I swear to God. Now, this is 91% isopropyl. This is like medical grade. There we go. That's okay. 91%. Get you what you want. That's what I'm talking about, boys and girls. Isn't that cool? All right. That's the ticket right there. Hi, Tina. Hi, Alyssa. Hurry and drip the alcohol. Look at Dee Dee. She's bossing me around. Move over, bossy butt. Dee Dee's in chat. Splatter with vigor. That's what I'm talking about. It was something like this. But what I was thinking was, I don't know what you would do with this. Now, other more creative minded people would know what you do with something like this. But I was thinking using my letter stencils and cut letters out of it. Or you could, now I want to try it again. We're going to do another one. Or you could just cut shapes out of it or something like that. But that was the results that I expected to see. And best thing still is I like this color combination. Like, look at that. That is awesome. That's what I'm talking about. I know, Terry, it only took me. Yeah, you used a pipette, but when he was doing it, he was flicking it with his fingers and getting lots of stuff going on. So, all right, we're going to choose another yummy color combination. Good for an undersea. Yeah, that's true. Good for undersea. But I thought just shapes or if I wanted to cut letters out, let me get some more paper out here. I chose a pretty thin, well, this one, this is like mixed media weight. So I'll set this over here and let it dry. And I'm wondering, because if I'm going to cut stuff out of it, I don't want it really thick. Sounds good to use a dropper. Well, the thing is, when you use a dropper, you just end up with bigger areas of the underneath paint coming through. And Dee Dee did it like 2 weeks ago, so you can go see her little experiment with it. But I think it's fun to do it by yourself. Is Bossy Butt leaving? Bossy, I wish you didn't have to go to the dentist. And these are not, I mean, I probably could paint over this and just use this paper again. It's not that big a deal. But it's not like I'm running low on paper either. And I think the contrast between the two colors, hot pink and purple. Yeah, but I don't want to use that color mix. I do have this I have a darker purple, a violet pansy. All right, let's do all right. Where's the hot pink is here. Well, and I wonder if the color shift, because I have kind of a pink flash color shift paint for the bottom. I could mix these two. Let's do that. Because the bottom layer doesn't really go anywhere. It just shows through. So let's just do that. And this is the really runny paint with big boogers in it. Nothing like a big burger on your paper. And this paper is more likely going to warp. Because it's a little bit lighter weight. But if it works well and I want to do something with it, it's going to be easier to cut. So there you go. And I don't really have clean water anymore, but that's okay. All right, let's get this paint moving. That color shift paint is so weird. Crazy color though, right? Eee, I just touched that. Eee. All right, I grabbed that other one and I'm going to paint off some of the excess paint on it. I might discover something new. It's kind of like Christopher Columbus. I'm just out there exploring for the new world. Here I am, creating the next amazing mixed media technique. The world will rave. Articles will be written. People will come from far and wide to shake my hand. I'm pretty sure that's the way it works, right? Stop touching stuff. I know. I'm terrible. Look at, I have barely done anything and I'm a mess. But I don't think I ruined any clothing. But it wouldn't surprise me. The day's still young. All right. Heat gun. I know. Fountains, memorials will be erected around the world. Poor Robert's out there blowing the driveway for the millionth time this week. All right, I know that's still wet. We'll just wipe it up. Should be fairly dry enough. And Raul wanted purple on top of this. Y'all color combinations are really weird, but that's okay. I asked. Me and my big mouth. Where'd I do put the purple? All right, I hear some liquid in there. Have to use this palette since this one's got blue on it. I would put blue on everything. All right, get the alcohol ready before I do the paint so I can work fast, right? If I have learned nothing, that's what I need to learn. All right. Now that should be plenty by the time I water it down. Add a little bit more water. All right, we're going to go with that. And I imagine with practice, if I did this enough times, I could kind of tell how much water, how much paint, you know. But since this is the first time I'm doing it, everything I'm doing is just really a big old fat guess. I am getting better about moving a little faster, I think. Well, you want to see somebody move fast, get a hold of Dee Dee. Holy girl, crap, that girl is so fast. I think the only thing I'm really fast at is eating. All right. Going with that. Ready, set, go. Not as dramatic as I want. So I wish my purple had been darker, I think. But I know you have to have adequate water for it to even respond. Dee Dee is very fast. She's just like, I don't know. She's like a monkey on speed or something. Not as dramatic as I would have liked. Still better than the first couple. So I got to try one more. Well, I'm gonna use like this one that we already painted. Yeah, I'm just gonna paint over that one. But that's more like what I anticipated. Yeah, it is very cool. Yeah. All right. I'm going to set that one aside and let it dry. Which is the other one that worked well? Yeah, the blue didn't work at all. This one worked pretty well, and it's drying. Now, see, I'm liking that. If I got a lot right in this area like that. Another thing I'm paying attention to or looking at is, I don't know what it's going to look like when it's dry, but I'm not sure if the paintbrush, you know, the fact that you can see the paintbrush marks is helping or distracting. But one thing for sure, okay, down here where I had very little of the paint, there was almost no interaction. Here where the paint was thicker, got some awesome interaction. So your top coat should be fairly thick, right? What happens with, see, Terry, my guess is, we'll try it with this one that I'm going to redo. My guess is with the lighter paint on top, you're going to see the bottom color, but let's try it. What the hell? We got, I mean, got nothing to lose, but right in here, this came out exactly like I kind of wanted it to. It's very cool, and I like it. I like it a lot. All right, here's a darker one. Maybe we'll do it on this one because we almost had no interaction on this one at all. And my top coat was fairly thick, but we were using like 50 or 70% isopropyl alcohol. So let's go ahead, dry this, and put a lighter color on top and see what happens. And I hope the alcohol doesn't explode with a heat gun, because then people are going to be flocking around to watch me burn up. I don't have to dry it. I can just pick it up on my rag. All right, now hit it with a heat gun real quick. What color you want? I do have some white. What if we did white on top of the blue? All right, I think I'm going to do yellow. I don't have a clean palette. Let me go over and, well, I don't have. I'll just wipe this one and we'll use it. And that should be enough area to put some yellow paint out. Shouldn't white? Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking. But Terry wants to know what a lighter color on top would do. And I'm very curious too. So let's do that. And this is Sunny Day Yellow. And I also have, this is like a real bright yellow. This is more like a creamy yellow. Let's do the creamy yellow. Okay, Devin. All right, I've got the 91. I'll put a little bit extra alcohol out here. So I don't know. I got the best results with the 91% isopropyl alcohol. And it is a little bit harder to find. I don't remember why I had to buy it, but I had to buy that. And it was harder to find than the 50 or the 70% isopropyl alcohol. I'm going to put a little bit extra paint out. And it really would be nice if I had clean water, but I don't, so who cares? Okay, ready? All right. Hopefully that's not too much water. It probably is. I think it is. I need a little KitchenAid mix paint mixing. Yeah, I'm going to add a little bit more paint. All right. And putting this yellow on top of the blue, we're going to end up with green. It's going to look green. That seems about the right consistency. We'll find out. Ready, set, go. Oops, sorry. I just poked you in the eye. Move you guys out a little bit so I quit poking you in the eye. Now I'm wondering too, if I sprayed this with a little bit of water, I got a lot of paint on that. Paint burger. Oh, I didn't want to get a big mark like that in it. All right. Okay, I added a little bit extra water. Now, ready, set. Not too bad, and I don't think it's showing on camera as fun as it is. When I really flick it, you get a lot of reaction. Paste paper. I've seen her do that, half and half on each side of the paper, get everything ready first. Yeah, that probably would be smart, Belinda, but that's not the way I go through life. It's still not as dramatic as his. So, of course, I have too many variables. That's my problem. Too many variables in my life. But yeah, that's not horrible. Now, another thing that might be interesting. All right, let me go get a paper towel while it's still somewhat wet. I should have just brought the whole roll of paper towel. Because one cool thing to do with watercolor is while it's still wet, and I'm only going to do this over here where it's not so cool, not crazy about it. Just pick up some of the wet, you know? All right. But at least I have some extra paper towel now. All right, we're going to set that aside and let it dry. I want to know what they feel like, and that turquoise may be getting close to dry. Now we're going to alter this one. Now this is the color shift. What color do we want on top of? Let's do like the aqua, the light green, aquamarine, or yeah, I think I'm going to go with the aquamarine. And then I have a little bit darker aqua. I think I want this one. Oops, and I don't have a palette. It's always something, isn't it? Do one with white on the bottom. Let me think about white on the bottom. Because why would I need to paint the white paint to let it dry? I think it would be more dramatic if I had a dark color on the bottom, tried to cover it with white, because white is the color of the paper. And the bottom layer is dry. So the bottom layer and the top layer are not mixing at all. So it would just be if I put a layer of paint I'm going to have to get a new diaper. This is just a baby diaper that I use as rags. I have a bunch of them that I dust with. Okay. I'm going to do the aqua on top of this. Now this we've already tried it once and didn't get the results that I had really wanted. So, and I don't have much of this aqua paint left. But yeah, let's give it a go. Could be a lot of burgeries in here from the sounds of it. Yep, look at that. That is one great big old paint boogery. That is a lot of paint, but it's almost empty and it's 100 years old. So who really cares, right? I'll let you guys try and mix this practically dried up paint with all the boogers in it. I think really the secret is getting the paint the right consistency. You've got to have ample water. That booger's got to go. Got to go. Yeah. Can we all come? What's for supper? Not really, Brenda, but I'm getting closer. So, yeah, it was well worth the experimentation time. I think it needs a little bit more water. I think this one's a little bit thick. But I think that's really the secret, is getting the right consistency on this top layer, that you have ample water, but still some opacity, right? That's what I'm thinking. But what the hell do I know? I just go through life pretending. Let's go. And it's got a lot of boogers in it, but that's fine. May not have enough water in it. I'm going to spray this. Make sure there's plenty of water. Because you almost can't see the pink underneath. And when it moves now, it should be very dramatic, right? That's what we're going for here. All right, ready? Nope. Too thick, I think. All right, before it does anything. I'm removing of course now it's probably been too long, but let's do it anyway. And you guys, I don't know if this should surprise any of you, but I went to school to be a chemist. That is no joke. There we go. Yeah, it's that top layer. You've got to get it the exact right consistency. And if you let that top coat dry, you're going to get no reaction at all. But up there, it's very cool. So let's try it again. And because I'm going to cut it up and use it for other things, if I have places on the page that didn't work at all, oh well, that goes in the trash heap. And I keep the parts that worked. But some of these parts really worked. Let me pull you down close. Like this one up here. Can you see that? That worked very cool. Yeah, I like this one too. And then this down here really worked. So, yeah, it's okay. I can work with this. Yeah, I did go to school for chemistry. I actually loved it. But I think part of the reason I loved it is because I had such a awesome chemistry partner. His name was Warren. And you know, at the time, I thought he was a freak because it seemed like the guy never slept, but he could make me understand literally anything. He was my age. He was just another student. And I thought, man, he's some sort of freak. He doesn't sleep. Now, looking back, I think the guy was a speed freak. Warren was not cute. Warren was not cute at all. He had this, he was pasty white with this huge afro. His dad was like a nuclear physicist or something. I don't know. His dad was like a total nerd head too. But I always wondered why the guy never slept. He would be calling me day, night. You want to come into the lab? It's like, no, man, I'm sleeping. I got a job. I got 2 jobs, you know. But looking back now, I truly suspect that Warren was a speed freak. And I never saw him do drugs or anything, and he seemed really straight laced and everything. But looking back now, I'm really wondering. Isn't that crazy that you look back and who knows? I've never looked him up. I don't. But my guess is he ended up in some lab somewhere. Yeah, creating new science. He was that kind of guy. But speed is something else. You feel like you never will come down. Lesson learned in the 80s. Yeah, but I always thought his behavior was so weird because he literally never slept. It was like, dude. But he didn't have to work either. Daddy was well heeled. And so Warren didn't have a job. I had 2 jobs. I was the most poorest person on the planet. And so while I was at work or trying to get some sleep, he'd just hanging out at the lab or reading a book, and then he'd call me. Have you read chapter? What? I was like, dude, I have a life. He could have been bipolar, but he was really, really, his parents were rich, Raul. Adderall wasn't a thing back then, Tina, at least as far as I knew. You have to remember, I was in college in the late 70s, 76 to 80. Yeah, Adderall was not a thing. I never heard of Adderall. Now, maybe it was a thing that I just didn't know about, but yeah, he was, I don't know, almost like a savant kind of character, but uber nice, And who knows? I hope he was successful, whatever he did, He deserved it. He worked hard. He really worked hard. So I don't know. I'm going to keep playing with this, I think, if I figure out what I'm going to do with it. Was his last name Bear? That could be true, Brenda. Maybe he was up making his own. So let's look at all these. Now I'm going to end the stream, but I'll show you the cover for the Inktober next time, because you all know how to put together a book, right? To sew 4 signatures into a book cover. I think of all the ones we did, this one is actually my favorite. I think I got the most dramatic effects. I don't know that I'm crazy or not crazy about the brush marks. I love the color combination. This color combination is spot on for me. So whatever I end up doing, I will do it on this one. And it's not, I wondered where the alcohol interacted with the paint, if it would end up sticky. It's not. It's completely matte, not sticky. But yeah, some of those areas are very, very cool. I wish you could see the actual colors because they're really awesome. The yellow, pretty crappy. Not loving this at all. This will end up in the trash. I'm pretty certain. This one's not horrible. And this one has parts of it that are very usable, but it's not dry yet. So look at me, I'm a mess. But this one I think works the best. And when you see it splatter, it's just like, oh, that's cool. And that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted to get that reaction of, oh, that's so cool. Google AI is saying that amphetamines were easy to get back in the 70s. Yeah, no, you could get speed. One of them I remember hearing about was Black Beauties. Yeah, this one is definitely by far my favorite. So another cool thing that this could be really used for is if you're building a journal or a book, to use this as the inside cover papers. So I'll find something cool to do with it. The uppers were called whites back then. Yeah, it does look like under a microscope, right? So yeah, it was fun playing anyway. Now I've got this big ass mess. But that's okay. That's how much I love you guys. I'll make my whole house a mess for you. How you like that? You like that? I like that. No, acid was around when I was in high school in the early 70s. You could get acid anywhere. What'd they call it? It was put on little pieces of construction paper. I don't remember now. But yeah, you could get acid anywhere. It wasn't that there weren't drugs, but everybody wasn't on Adderall or something like that. You know, now we call it something different and it's okay to give kids. Yeah, I really do love you after all. Disclaimer. I think a few of us might have tried it, View, but not, yeah, construction paper. It was a drop. What'd they call it? It had a name. Yeah, it came on little pieces of construction paper. I know what, yeah. The 70s were a crazy time. They really were. Yeah, I would not recommend it anymore. You know, I've read and listened to doctors who treat people, and I don't think anybody, well, I'm certain nobody goes into experimental drug use to become a junkie. You know, it's insidious, drug use is. And so that's why I would say to anybody, and thank God my kids never even tried. I'm pretty sure they never even smoked a joint. But drugs are insidious because you don't go in expecting to come out a junkie, but that's literally where you end up. So, yeah, recreational drug use, that's a misnomer. There's no such thing, I don't think. So, yeah. Anyway, that's my lecture for today. And if I think of something else I want to lecture you guys about, I'll save it for next Monday. How about that? And for now, oh, it was everywhere, View. I'd be surprised if people of the 70s didn't at some point try something. So, yeah, I know you guys, time is valuable and I appreciate you spending it with me. You're a chemist too. Yeah, chemistry was interesting. It was fun. Anyway, I got a mess to clean up here. So I will say goodbye for now. I'll see you Wednesday at Dee Dee's. And Pray for me while I clean up this mess because I'm knee deep in crap. All right. Love you guys. See you. Bye.